Welcome to Behind the Blue Curtain. This is your all-access pass to Sarasota Opera. We'll uncover stories, behind-the-scenes perspectives, and explore the magic that happens both in front of and behind the blue curtain. Welcome to episode 6 of our podcast series. This is All Things Il Trovatore by the great Giuseppe Verdi. We have sieges, serenades, and secrets. So this is one of the all-time great Verdi operas. There was a time when you could hear this music played everywhere because it was so popular. So what is the story of Il Trovatore? There's a backstory that happens before the opera starts, and that is the Count, who has 2 sons, has ordered that the gypsy be burned at the stake. And he orders that her daughter, Azucena, watch this. So Azucena, who has a young son of her own, hears her mother cry, "Avenge me," and in her distraught state, she grabs one of the Count's children, but throws her own child on the fire. So she escapes in the confusion, and she raises the Count's son as her own. So all of that happens before the opera takes place. But now both the Count's son and the son that Azucena has raised are grown men. They're both in love with the same woman, Leonora. Azucena continues to need to avenge her mother. It creates this wonderful puzzle of these 4 characters and how their lives are intertwined. And joining me today will be Marco Nisticò, our stage director, and Lisa Chavez, our Azucena, the gypsy woman. And joining me now is mezzo-soprano Lisa Chavez, who has sung many times at the Opera Company, but only one Verdi role, and not a Verdi role like this. Lisa, talk to me about Azucena.
Oh, she's amazing. Azucena is really, I think, Verdi originally wanted her as the heart of the story. She was the main character of this story. But as operas go, the soprano has to be the love interest and whatnot. And her whole character is based on extreme vengeance. She has serious PTSD, if you really think about it. She saw her mother burned at the stake while she's holding her baby to her chest. And she hears her mother screaming from the pyre, "Avenge me!" And it is the only thing on her mind from the beginning to the end, this idea of vengeance.
And yet, how remarkable that even though she unfortunately kills her own baby, she raises someone else's child with genuine love. Talk about the relationship with your adopted son, as it were.
When she actually kills her own child in place of this child that she has stolen in this act of vengeance. But she is in this trance and she hears this voice, of her mother just echoing and echoing through her mind. It's as if something's taken over her. And I think she is so distraught with what she did and what happened. And not only that she killed her own child, but that she would kill a baby in the first place. I think that is her motivation to raise this child as her own. And she truly does raise it as her own. She loves him. She cares for him. She runs to his side when he's mortally wounded and nurses him back to health. There is a huge amount of love when she does finally tell him and he goes, "You're not even my mom." She's hurt by this because she says, "I've been nothing but a loving mother to you." There is a true sense of love and dedication to him, but at the same time, this constant reminder of what she did that she can't quite come to terms with, yet she feels that she did it for her mother.
What understanding Verdi has, first off, of a woman, but then a woman going through this, what depth of characterization they give her in your text and in your music.
Yes.
Okay, so Lisa, every singer, every mezzo wants to do this role, but each person has their own part that just really calls to them. What is it that you can't wait to sing?
I can't wait to sing Condotta, the aria where she really tells her whole history of what happened. And it's kind of right off the bat. And she is spilling her soul out to Manrico and telling him what happened and how it happened and what she sacrificed. And that maybe he's not her child, but that she loves him still.
You know, we can't begin to know what horrible things have happened to people all over the world where strife is happening. So people living through these heightened emotional situations, unfortunately, is not unique to that time period, right?
No, it's not. It's not. But I think life was so much shorter at that time too, that it was kind of like live it how it comes. And all of these characters are doing their dangdest to get what they want in each moment. And that's why I think maybe some people might think it's ridiculous, because you're seeing all of these huge moments, one after the other, after the other. And that's kind of what makes opera. I think that's what people go to the theater for.
What do you want an audience to take away from your performance of Azucena?
I would love them to leave the theater feeling that this was a real woman. She's not a caricature of what somebody wrote, that she is really conflicted, that she has this overwhelming fear of how her mother died, and then towards the end knowing that that's going to be her fate as well. But through all of it, that she is a loving mother, but that she's a real person, that she's not just a caricature, that they can understand where her misguided earlier actions came from and can see her focus saving this son that she has raised.
Fantastic. Joining me will be Marco Nisticò, our stage director. So Marco, welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's my pleasure. So those of you who don't know, Marco has a long history at Sarasota Opera, first as a singer for many years and actually in many productions of Verdi. Then he was our artistic administrator, and now he has switched to being a stage director. Marco, you grew up in Italy. Where does your love of Verdi come from? What's your history with Verdi?
Well, my history with Verdi starts really in Italy, where I grew up in Naples, especially because I grew up in a home where opera and singing was ever present. My dad was an opera singer all his life and a teacher at the conservatory, and so I heard singing ever since I was born. He also became my voice teacher, so he taught me how to sing, and one of the very first things that he taught me as an aria to study was a Verdi aria, because he thought that Verdi was not only a great composer, but also a great teacher of the voice. You know, for a singer, it was great to learn how to sing Verdi, because everything in terms of like how to produce a sound, how to tell a story through your voice, it's everything you need. So I grew up like loving not only these incredible melodies that Verdi wrote and the way he tells a story, but also I grew up loving the physical feeling that a singer gets when they sing Verdi. It's a special way to really feel in your body when you do that, and that's something that has stayed with me until now. I have to mention that my very first full Verdi role was in Sarasota with you, Marta, directing. I was singing Foscari, the Doge of Venice, in an early Verdi opera called I Due Foscari. You taught me a lot how to be on stage and fully embody that kind of character. He was an older guy, so it was a great experience. Then I sang many other Verdi roles, but that was the very beginning of this Verdi journey.
Well, and what a challenging one to start with, because that incredibly challenging music, as you said, but then embodying a very elderly man who had some very heavy costumes, as I recall.
Yes, very.
And also a historic figure. So that factors in too, finding that physicality that is believable and brings to life everything about that person. So
it was a good excuse to go to Venice and do a little research about the Doge.
When I was in Italy researching I Due Foscari in Venice, because I wanted to know everything, I was going up to guards in the Doge's palace, so it was great fun. So first off, and what makes this opera such a popular opera?
Trovatore's music is some of the most popular music that Verdi has ever written, right? The tunes are just well known. Obviously, I have to mention it, the famous anvil chorus that kind of everybody knows, and even if people who are listening now, they don't know what it is, I'm sure that when they hear it, they will immediately recognize it. It's an opera focused on the storytelling through the music. Cammarano, the person who wrote the libretto for Trovatore, basically the lyrics, right? So the words for Trovatore. Verdi and Cammarano, they were exchanging letters, and at some point, Cammarano said, well, it's also good for a concert hall because the music is so incredibly compelling and gripping.
It's an incredibly powerful, believable drama.
Verdi was so good at catching depth of humanity in music that is immediately appealing and easy to understand. And so Verdi was one of, these geniuses that went through something very difficult in his life. And so then was able to put all this humanity that he understood and suffered into this music in a way that, again, was very direct and immediate. And everybody felt that he could express their own personal feelings. That's the magic of great geniuses, right? That we all identify personally with whatever their artistic production is. Now, the characters, I find them very compelling and very interesting because they have sublime music that they sing. They tend to be, most of them in Trovatore, incredibly driven by something, by basically one thing, almost all of them. Leonora, she's driven by this sudden love that she felt for Manrico. Manrico is also driven by the love for her. Il Conte di Luna is really driven by love, this almost insane love. They actually said, I am crazy with love. They become crazy. They do crazy things. To me, the one that is possibly the most complex character is Azucena, this gypsy, because that's what she is in the opera, who has suffered what we now would call trauma, a profoundly traumatic experience. She's seen her mother burned at the stake as a witch. And he's told by her mother, just before dying, avenge me. So imagine this kid who sees that and then hears that, and this is ingrained in her soul. She is also driven by the love, for this young man, Manrico, who is actually not her son. And so that's quite a complex thing, and I think it's Verdi wrote the music that describes and depicts very well the struggle inside her. There's a big scene when she first appears, basically, after she sings a song where she tells the story. We need compelling actors to sing operas. We need people who are able to act the part, embody with their voice and also physically these characters that are heightened but deeply human.
Are there particular moments that really grab you?
I am actually looking forward to work with Riccardo José Rivera on Valen del suo sorriso, which is iconic for every baritone. because all the tunes are so famous and so well known, I'm looking forward to actually the reaction to all of it. It's like a hit parade of of tunes. And the choruses, I'm actually looking forward for that, because Verdi, among many things, he was also master in composing really compelling chorus music.
We've talked about some of the themes. We've got revenge, we've got love, we've got trauma. There is war going on. There's, of course, social marginalization. Are these not all themes that a modern audience can relate to?
I think they are. I mean, they absolutely are. We feel the same feelings. We feel the love for our children or for our family, passion, anger. I think there is a confusion about, what is relevant. It doesn't have to be modern visually. There is nothing not relevant in a Count di Luna singing about love for his beloved.
This will be Maestro DeRenzi's last Verdi opera at the Opera House. Those of you who don't know, Sarasota Opera, under his guidance and leadership, is the only company in the world to have performed every single note that Verdi ever wrote. So what does that mean for you to be a part of this final experience at the Opera House?
Well, I'm very attached to Maestro DeRenzi. He gave me the chance to start singing Verdi, which is, for me, has been very important in my artistic career. I remember that at one of these audience meet the artist conversations that we had, one person asked, Maestro, we hear that this is Marco's first lead Verdi role. How did you know that he could sing Verdi? And Maestro said, I don't know yet. we will see on opening night. And I thought it was funny, but I also thought it was quite generous on his part to take a chance. It will be an emotional experience. It's going to be an experience that will include respect, admiration, love for him, for the work that he has done, and this composer, and to be together doing this is it's a privilege.
Thank you for joining me and my guests on this podcast. And I hope you'll join me for our last podcast of the season about all things Susanna, sin, innocence, and repentance. See you then.